Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. Tonight, we are doing all sorts on the channel. We'll have a discussion about the transfer window, where that's left Newcastle United. We'll look back to the game against Southampton because, of course, we didn't do a review because we were bloody knackered. And obviously, a look ahead to the huge Premier League game on Saturday night. And I presume a lot of people will want to talk Cup Final tickets as well, since Newcastle United announced today the process to try and get your hands on one. There's been quite a few people saying it's fair. It's pretty much the only way they could have done it. There's some people very upset about it, and there's also some people who, have come up with absolutely the most bizarre things I've ever heard in my life. It is what it is. But as I say, I did a video earlier on today. I've had a lot of feedback on that video about people's stance on things, and also about Miggy's football boots, which are mentioned in the video. I don't know whether you've seen that, Alex. Miggy has been playing with the same boots since October, which are basically glued together at the moment because he will not change them. Because of his form this season. So Miggy being Miggy, he's come out and said in an interview that they're basically glued together at the minute. So maybe it's time for him to get a new pair, I think, because bless him. It's the Premier League. It's not he doesn't play for Everton. You know what I mean?
South Americans and their superstitions,
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's have a look at some of you wonderful people in the chat. Don't forget, guys, to please like the show if you're enjoying it, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Free to do so. Come and be part of our community. And of course, if you want to donate to the channel, you can do using the super chat option. That is also a guaranteed way of getting your message read out on the show. It pops straight up to the top of the list. Because the amount of messages and chat we get now is just phenomenal. It really is. Ty says, Newcastle United have finally made it to Wembley after so many years. Wish I could have been a part of it as a London, but sadly not eligible for tickets. Stu, good evening. James says, the mighty Toon Army from the great Geordie Nation will depend upon Wembley. Our beers will blot out the sun and our cheers will never stop being sung. Indeed. It's very exciting. Danielle's in the chat as well. Good evening, Danielle. And she says they're rotten fans weren't that bothered that they'd reached the final. Obviously talking about Manchester United, and we all know that she has bollocks. Yeah, my
come on, mate.
Some internet difficulties, it would seem.
It does seem like that way. I've been at war with Man United fans today on Twitter. Quite so, Marley. They're so they feel as if it's just their God-given right to turn up and just take the trophy away.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of them saying that they just deserve it because they've had a few years without a trophy, and it's which is odd.
Sorry about that. I forgot to change my internet over when I came in here, so I do apologise for that. But never mind. We're back. Anyway, I was going to read that Danielle comment out, and it's disappeared because I've lost all my chat now. But never mind. She was just having a dig at the Manchester United fans, of course. Which why not? Why not?
I can find it.
All right. Okay. While you're doing that, we got a super chat, £4.49 from Steve Mallam. Happy birthday for yesterday. Hope you weren't as rough as I was after the night before. No, I wasn't actually. But did you just put that on the screen, Billy? I've just taken it off again by accident. Hey, what a start to the show. There you go. probably had to rush off to get their trains back home to London. Rotten, entitled, arrogant fan base. I presume Danielle's really wanting us to give them a hiding come the final, which hopefully we will. By the way, massive shout out to Andy Young, who basically I was in his box on at the match for the semi-final at St James's Park. It was just absolutely fantastic. Lovely meeting his family and sharing that experience with him. It was absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Andy, and to your family as well for making us feel really welcome in up there in the box, and making Phoebe feel comfortable as well. She had an absolutely wonderful night. Obviously, the result was even better. So thank you very much, Andy. Much appreciated. Well, I had this kind of chicken peppercorn kind of, but it's there was literally a mound of green beans, which I quite like. And then sort of half time was a sticky toffee pudding with toffee sauce, which was absolutely heavenly. And then after the game, there was sort of cheese board, there was pizzas, and Andy and his family gave me the Newcastle United cheese to bring home, which was wrapped up in a nice black and white wrapper with Newcastle United written on. So that's sitting in my fridge ready for a cheese and biscuits night, probably on Saturday night. So there you go. It was really good. It was
excellent,
a magnificent experience, and thanks to Andy, I wouldn't have experienced anything like that. But absolutely lovely fella, lovely family, and a credit to the Newcastle fan base. He really is. So thank you again. Everybody's commenting saying, "Oh, I'm 55. I don't look a day over 58." Well, you can kiss my ass, the lot of yous, right? Because I'm nowhere near that age. Steve says, "Evening all. How's everybody feeling about the ticket scheme then? Period 3 for me, so I'm hopeful." Yeah, a lot of people in different ones. Scotty says, "Hope you had a great birthday, Paul. Hope the bus pass has been delivered." Aha. Mark Cooper, good evening. Prola TV says, "Happy birthday, Paul. 35 with a question mark." Well, round about that. Francisco's in the house. Stu, good evening. Liam says, "I hope I look that good when I'm old, Paul." David says, "Hi lads, keep up the show, mate. Hope you're well." KB over there in Belfast, good evening. Paul Pie's in the house. Is Isak concussed? I thought I saw him walking around the pitch at the end. Yes, he is, and is a doubt for the game on Saturday. But I guess we'll know more.
He can't play if he's got concussion.
Yeah, he can't.
I've heard conflicting reports that he's going to get checked over tomorrow, and
he hasn't been diagnosed with concussion yet.
Yeah,
but if he does, he can't play. Billy's right. Obviously, Bruno won't be playing either. He's out for 3 games, of course. He'll be back for the final, but we'll miss West Ham, Bournemouth, and of course the massive home game against Liverpool. Shane in Australia says, "I personally think tickets should go to Australian fans first." Yeah, it's a big shout, Shane. It's a big shout. Call Me Swift says, "Zari, you lovely people, in case you didn't know, we're going to Wembley. I'm so proud of the lads." Absolutely. Bilbo says, "If the capacity of Wembley is 90,000, we've only been allocated just under 33,000 tickets." Look, it is what it is. It's corporate, and it happens more so. It happens in the FA Cup final, but it is also happening here. This is the thing with Wembley for me, Billy. It's taken away from the fans in a way by all the corporate people that have to get in order to pay for the stadium.
Yeah, when we got Weeks Cup final in League Cup final in '76, there was no sponsor. It was divided down the middle between us and Man City. Since there's been a sponsor, we've had Milk Cup, Coca-Cola Cup, Littlewoods Cup, etc., etc., etc. They take a third of the tickets, or somewhere near to a third of the tickets. So it's wrong, really. But I suppose they sponsor it for a reason. This is why they do it, I guess, because it was the weakest of the 3 cups at one time. It wasn't recognised as a strong trophy with a sponsorship in it. Now it seemed it is a major trophy, and that's why they do that way. But I don't know. It just seems a bit unfair that clubs that have got that many, Man United 75,000 every week, we get 52,000 every week, and there's only 33,000 of each club going. It just seems a bit unfair.
Yeah, there is there is tickets being banded about all over the internet on second-hand sales sites already, mainly in the Man United end, and I don't know how that is, but they're going for like £700, you know, like upwards to 1,500 and probably more. I mean, Alex, I mean, you know, as much as we all want to go and see Newcastle, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. The tickets has been a problem for, well, in multiple grounds, multiple clubs, finals. It's been an issue for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be some sort of general consensus and overhaul. Every club handles tickets differently. They handle season tickets and different things in different ways. Finals and Wembley and everything is also the same. It's too much money in it, but it should be standardized some way in favor of the fans. But they're just gonna go with where the money is, aren't they? So
you know what would make sense to me is 40,000 each and then 10,000 for corporate. Simple as that. But it's the fans that get screwed all the time. Chippers, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. He says Sky's coverage piping off Man United for this final is a disgrace. Yeah, it is, but we're never going to get a change on that, unfortunately. The build-up to it will be all Man United.
I have a bone to pick with some of the graphics that have been bandied about. They keep putting Erik ten Hag and obviously Eddie Howe either side of the trophy. Erik ten Hag is normally wearing just a plain suit with no tie or a tracksuit all the time. And Eddie Howe will typically wear similar. And for some reason, in all of the graphics, they're putting Erik ten Hag in a really posh beige suit with like an expensive watch, suiting and booting him to the high heavens. And they've put Eddie Howe in just a training kit.
Well, there you go.
There is so much footage and so many graphics of Eddie Howe in a suit. There's plenty of Eddie Howe in a suit as well. And it's just a clear bias, even in graphic design. And I'm not here for it at all. It's really irritated me.
Even the simple things, but that will just continue. Ricard Anderson says, I checked via a Swedish travel agency for a ticket, £1,500. Ian, Mr. Spoon says, I can't see a way that the ticket allocation could be any fairer myself. Yeah, look, it was a difficult job. Either way, any way that they brought out the allocation of tickets was going to cause upset to somebody. It's the way it is. It was always going to be someone who would miss out or, it's just a shame. It really is. Andrew, good evening. Geordie B says midfield sadly left light now without Bruno. Sophia, good evening to you. Hope you're well. Beats says can't wait for the West Ham game. 2-0 to the Toon. We have too much pace for their back line. Ian says, is Isak going to be missing with concussion? We don't know. I would think Eddie will be quizzed about that tomorrow, Billy, and I guess, but will he give anything away? I mean, if he's concussed, he's concussed.
Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? You know how Eddie keeps his cards close to his chest. If he says he's not concussed, he could say that, I guess, and still not say anything about the team lineup, couldn't he? So I think he'll give the answer whether he is or not.
Absolutely. Julie
probably
Jason,
come out and say they'll make a late call, won't he?
Well, that's what he normally says. Yeah. We haven't had him checked yet. We'll find out this afternoon. Julie J says, I was looking at Seat Picker. Those prices for tickets are mental at £1,400 each. It is crazy. But speaking of the final, sort of going back to deadline day, I'd just like to publicly thank you, Billy, and you, Alex, for taking over the show on Tuesday night when I went to the match. You were absolutely magnificent. The stint that you put in, Alex, especially being on nights the night before, Billy on with me from 10 o'clock in the morning. You both deserve a massive pat on the back. And I'm absolutely proud as punch of the pair of yous. It was a superb effort. We were all knackered on Wednesday because, for me, streaming all day, then going to the match, and you know what it's like at the match. You come out of there, you're all pumped up, and then by the time you get home, you are drained. You get into bed, but you can't sleep. It's one of those mammoth efforts. But listen, you two were absolute stars. Thank you to Francisco, and thank you to Roy as well for coming on as well. But you two, simply magnificent. So well done, guys. And I just wanted to say that in public as well. We've got 900 people watching, so I'm sure they're all applauding you as well. And thank you very, very much to everybody that donated towards the two charities. Absolutely phenomenal. I won't get to know until YouTube let me know next month how much we've raised, but it is fantastic amount again, and it's all down to you guys. Just incredible generosity, and even whatever we make can make a slight difference. That's where it all counts for me. So thank you to everybody for being part of that amazing day again. And we go again in the summer, boys. Ah, dear. George, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. He says, but did you get any midget gems in the box? Happy belated birthday. No, I didn't, George, but I got some. I did buy some chocolate raisins, which I forgot all about. And in fact, I still think they're in my coat pocket now. Phoebe got sweets. She forgot about them. Now, for Phoebe, a 14-year-old, to forget about sweets in her pocket, that's how much she enjoyed the experience. So just incredible. I haven't heard from Jordan either, so I wonder how he thought of the game. He's probably still in the ground pissed as a fart. He's probably just lying up there in level 7 somewhere out of it. Dave Bullman says, evening all. Loved Ali McCoy's commentating on the match. He always has good things to say on Newcastle. Typical Roy Keane bullshit today about Newcastle. Would love to beat them over any team in the final. Yeah, Ali was... the commentary gantry was right in front of where I was sitting on Tuesday. So right in front of me was Shea Given and David Ginola. And then just to the left, I didn't see Warnock.
I confused Neil Warnock for David Ginola.
Yeah, I do remember.
How do you do that?
I don't know how you manage that.
I need to start wearing big spectacles for the match.
Billy, I seriously, man, Specsavers, if you're watching, there's a man coming your way very shortly. I mean, David Ginola is still an Adonis. You know what I mean? He's just, the man just glows, right? And the amount of people that, after he'd done the halftime sort of report up at that gantry, just asking him all for, selfies. And it was great because he was in there getting selfies with everybody. Shea Given, just before half-time, he was having his makeup touched up, and he looked up at us where we were sitting, and he was just like, as if to say, fucking hell, in front of all these thousands of people, getting a makeup brush wafted over my face. But there was a couple of them turned around after Bruno's tackle. We were all kicking off, saying, "Oh, he got the ball," and Given turned around, and another lad and said it's a red card. I was like, oh my God.
I still don't think it is.
We'll come on to that, Billy, because I know you think differently for that. Tom Story says, I ain't got a chance for a ticket, but we'll party hard with the rest of the Geordies on the 26th. Yeah, look, I don't care what it is. If you're in London, Newcastle, you're going to have a blast anyway, wherever you are. Stephen Stoko says, evening, lads, been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer recently. And on my bucket list was Newcastle to win something before I go. Looks like I'm going to get my wish. Toon through and through always. Stephen, my God, man. Listen, you never know. Just keep strong. Keep fighting. That's the only thing. Keep fighting, man. You just never know. We're here for you, buddy. You keep fighting hard. Roger says, looks like a coach two-way for Wembley for me. Not ideal, but... Peter says ticket allocation seems very fair to me. My ticket is booked for my recliner in front of the telly. JJ says the in-house compare DJ wants the push. He loves his own voice. When he kept commenting on the fans who were in full voice, Shaq was fantastic.
Whoa. Well, Paul just deliberately he's pressed the wrong button there somehow. I'm sure he'll come back. Here he comes now.
I missed the DJ coverage, to be fair.
I'm sick. I swiped left and it sent me out the studio. I do apologize. Shaq was brilliant, guys. I have to say, he was absolutely superb. I mean, he just... everybody, when he started playing, everyone from the boxes came out onto the balcony. Everybody was dancing. And it just got... The atmosphere was incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. Astral Trump says, if you've been to every cup match home and away, you should be prioritised top of the list because that's probably 3,000 max and that's 30,000 for everyone else. That's fair. Yep. James says, I've had my knickers in a twist about this transfer window and the rules for FFP. So yesterday spoke to my accountant and can now appreciate what's going on with the club. Time well spent to understand. Dan Brown says, due some revenge against the Manx. Julie says, Ginola was the share of the 90s. Well, yes, he was highly admired, I think it's fair to say. Wish Toon Review fans had priority tickets. Absolutely. Listen, if I could get a big executive box at Wembley and take the Toon Review,
take 17k. There's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Little FB says, would love to see Piff buy a massive stake in Sky TV. Pundits and commentators will be scattering like scared rats. Absolutely. Francisco says, remember to spread the word, 20k by April. Thanks, buddy. In fact, Francisco will be joining us tomorrow night on TTR Friday as well. So it'd be good to get Francisco back on for another guest appearance. Mary says, there are lots of men who genuinely just don't age. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you, Mary. She's probably talking about Ginola, but I'm going for me this time. Paul, do you agree with me that we need to 100% focus on foreign transfers in the summer as we are wasting our time with all the EPL clubs unless the players force a move and we can get better, cheaper? I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I was thinking in the ground on Tuesday night, when Bruno was sent off and you're thinking, oh, God, there's still time in the window. Did any of you feel like we might have made a late push?
It's too late.
We're hoping more than anything, but there was no time left. No time left. Everything was kind of cut off earlier. The burger stuff, wasn't it? That was all cut off kind of midday-ish. And
yeah.
There was no
in response to that question as well. Homegrown is a thing, especially if we're going to enter European competitions, which looks fairly likely. And the fact we're going to lose. I think Wood counts as homegrown now. I think he's been here. Does he count as homegrown? Has he been here long enough? Potentially not. But Shelvey definitely did. Darlow did, and he's going. Who else are we going to lose? We're losing Richie's class is homegrown. His contract's expiring. We're going to lose a lot of homegrown players out the door. That's why Gordon it ticked an extra box. So we've still got to be careful of that. We can't just go. We can't go and sign 6 or 7 foreign players who don't meet the homegrown quota. Because we are going to be in Europe next season, albeit unless we have a massive slide and finish 8th and don't win the final. So
yeah. By the way, can I just say on Anthony Gordon, what an ovation he got, by the way. For all the stuff that was going on social media, said, oh, we don't want him. When he was standing in the centre circle, the strawberry corner, we were like, oh, Anthony Gordon. And I think it took, you could see his face was just like, wow, bloody hell.
Keyboard warriors don't come out in real life, do they?
Well, no, they don't. That's a good point. Look, I wasn't particularly keen on him. I don't think many of us were. But after hearing him get interviewed, and sort of hearing what sort of person he is and seeing the players meeting him, you kind of do change around a little bit. And I am looking at. It's going to be interesting to see what Eddie does on Saturday, whether he starts him or not. But we'll come on to that a bit later on because there is dilemmas for Eddie Howe this weekend. There's no doubt about that. Geordie Ricard says, bloody hell, good evening, everyone. Was waiting for the show to start at 8 p.m. Was saying 19 minutes to wait going to the start. We did start at 8 o'clock, Mr. Ricard, but unfortunately, you must have fallen asleep. Where's Paul gone? I'm right here. Would-be farmer says, love for Stephen, fight hard indeed. Thank you very much, mate. Geordie boy says, how about breaking into Wembley the day before? Grab a seat and anyone says anything, they can feck off. Good luck with that.
That's what Man United fans do.
Man United fans do. Yeah, they do that. They're good at doing that.
Imagine someone coming up and saying, that's my seat. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Well, then you fucking manage it. You manage the team then.
Yeah. CHB says, is Bruno playing in the final? Absolutely he is. Julie J says, Shaq's brilliant, one of our own. Ashley, he says, it's great the club reached out to him. Yeah, it is. And, he was stuck in the corner and you could hardly see him. But Jesus Christ, that music was pumping so loud. And the kind of music that he was playing was just getting people dancing. I mean, Billy, even you would have been up rocking your hips. It was just tremendous. Angelica says, Stephen, keep fighting, sunshine. Sending my love to you and your family. Jim Hewitson says it will be a great day for people that can't travel if we could have a big screen at St James's Park with Shaq DJing. Alex, do you think they will do that? Do you think they'll open up St James's Park? Because if they want to make some money, they're going to, because thousands of people will take them up on it.
I don't see why not. As to do I think they're going to do it, I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 on that. Should they do it? Yeah, I think it would work. I mentioned this the other day that, they do this with rugby all over the country, and it works very, very well. It's a fun day out, and it makes sense. It means we can keep it in the club, and it would be good. If we win as well, with everybody celebrating, scenes from St James's Park and outside the front. It'd be great media as well. It'd be great videos. It'd create an amazing sort of scene for history. And it'd help the club make a bit of money on top of it, whilst providing the fans somewhere to just go and watch it as a community instead of in pubs or at home. I feel like it's a win-win because they'd make money theoretically. You charge a little bit less, obviously, but you charge a little bit to get in, and then big screen. Depends if they could source it or not, because obviously you can't just have it on that telly up in the corner. It's got to be we'll see. Hopefully it's not raining on the final day.
Paul Stevenson says, did anyone think that Eddie looked a bit nervous in the tunnel before the kickoff? There would have been nerves there. I think the nerves kicked in from half time. Second half, we looked very, very nervous. I don't know how it looked on the watch along, but the ground inside the stadium was nervous as well. It was, you could feel it. Even though we were 2 goals up, it didn't feel like we were 2 goals up, if that makes sense. The tension in the ground was incredible, and that was coming from the pitch as well. The things they were trying to do just weren't quite coming off, and then obviously when Bruno got sent off, it put extra panic in. Pope made a magnificent save from Adam Armstrong. Then you see Isak going off with a bloody concussion. You think, right, But as time went on into the extra time, you thought, well, there's no way Southampton are going to score 2 goals now, and the nerves started to dissipate. But it's bound to be, Alex. It's bound to be nervous like that.
Yeah, I think we all were watching it as well. Everybody was behaving as though 1 goal would equal a loss. If we conceded, we're out. And that wasn't the case. We had a 2-goal cushion, but even I felt the same. It looked like the crowd felt it. The players looked like they were feeling exactly the same way, that conceding would just be a disaster. And it wasn't the case. I think it just goes to show everybody talking about the final at Wembley and do we deserve it and all of this, that, and the other. I think that just epitomizes sort of how much it means to us. The amount of top 6 clubs and fans that talk about Mickey Mouse Cups and Tin Pot trophies and all of this. Yeah. We're hanging on with the 2-goal lead in the semi-final, and we are more nervous as a fan base than I've seen us in. I can't remember the last time I've been that nervous. Maybe the final day when Gutierrez and Sissoko scored to keep us up. Maybe that sort of vibe in terms of like nervousness. It just shows how much it means to everybody. It's huge.
I mean, the end of the game was incredible. The amount of fans that stayed back to clap the lads off. And you could see what it meant to the lads as well. Fabian Scher going to Lisa's end and proper giving it the big one. It was just unbelievable. And it's one of those nights, whether you were watching at home or whether you were in the ground, it's just one of those nights that you'll remember because it was our club coming together. The flags, the scarves, the atmosphere. And let's be honest. We were all nervous, but Nick Pope only had that one save to make from Adam Armstrong. They didn't have another shot in the second half, and yet we're all panicking. I mean, I know Southampton had a lot of the ball, but they weren't hurting us. We kept them, we contained them quite easily, if I'm honest, apart from that one where Adam Armstrong got through. There wasn't anything to worry about, but it was just the fact that it was a semi-final, it was a second leg, and we were so close to Wembley that we haven't been since '99, and that's. That was what the nerves were that were going around the stadium. The players did the jobs. And I have to say, Sean Longstaff, I mean, Billy, the funny thing happened in the car coming home. I was driving home on Tuesday night, and I put the watch along on we used to. I sort of moved it along to where the game kicked off. And Phoebe had fallen asleep in the car just before the match kicked off. And when we scored the first goal, you screamed that loud. She shot out of her seat thinking, what the hell's going on? Didn't realise where she was. But it was just raw emotion. It was incredible. Brilliant from Longstaff. He's been in them positions so many times and ballooned the ball over the bar. And then the second goal was even better for me because the ball came across and his control to put it low into the corner. I mean, absolutely superb. And that interview at the end, I don't know whether you've seen it with Sean Longstaff getting interviewed for NUFC TV. And then Dan Burn comes out, I'm getting measured for me suit. It's just unbelievable. And you just think what camaraderie they've got in the dressing room, Billy.
Well, yeah, that was a hark back to Paul Gascoigne at Wembley, wasn't it, when he played for Spurs against Arsenal?
Yeah.
You know, another Geordie boy made good.
Suit measured.
Yeah, and then he went a bit crazy, but it was just, it was just unbelievable that Sean Longstaff, after all the criticism he's taken this season, he was still getting it on Tuesday night before kickoff as well. And the lad played an absolute storming game. I mean, he could have had 4. 2 of the great chances. One he made himself with a volley, which was superb. The 2 finishes for the actual goals were absolutely superb, and both came from absolutely sublime moves also. I mean, the switch of feet that Bruno did in that first goal was absolutely astonishing.
Oh, that was insane, that was.
Absolutely astonishing. The speed of the shimmy of the feet to take it past that defender and put it over Trippier.
He knows it as well because he clipped that and put it in his own little Twitter video.
He did,
he knows that was a good move.
And the way Alan McCoy spoke about that as well, he was almost orgasming over it. Let's just say that.
Well, everybody was. Keith Dites, thank you for your $10 super chat over in the States. No one is worried about that because we're all coming to, well, I don't know what it said there because it's took it off the screen now, but I'll catch up with it. But thank you, Keith, again. I just want to ask you two what you thought of Willick's performance because I just don't know. Listen, he had a massive hand in the second goal, which was a superb move down the left-hand side. But that goal that he gave, that was borderline laziness. And for me, apart from the goal, he wasn't that good.
Well,
I don't know what you guys think.
I thought if he'd have maintained the level of performance that he put in for the first 20 minutes, would have been giving him a 10 out of 10. Unfortunately, he did that pass and his confidence went in. And he just wasn't the same player. Yeah,
we've seen that with Willick a lot over the last few weeks, haven't we? Where he starts well and then he disappears.
From the sublime to ridiculous, basically. That's what it was.
He's had the reverse. He's had a lot of the reverse performances where he hides for 60 minutes and then all of a sudden he comes alive with driving runs. He's got both sets, both scenarios in him. It's a case. I still think it's a case of he's just turned 23. He's a young lad. We need more competition for places in the midfield, and he's got the weight on his shoulders at the moment. He's a young, he's younger than most. And he's
look. I'm not digging at him. I'm really not because I think Willick's done. My feelings. I think he's done very well this season. Just the last few games, he's looked a bit leggy. I
think he's looked great in parts of it, and then leggy. It's a problem where he looks great, and then it just it's confidence maybe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Head. That was a fantastic finish from Che Adams. No one will take that away from him. To beat Nick Pope.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw the XG when we were reviewing it at the time, but it was a 0.04 XG chance. You score 1 in 20 of them. It was a very sweet.
It's a brilliant hit.
Strike.
But it gave them the impetus to get back in the game then, didn't it? It just kind of, because, how them Southampton fans must have been feeling, travelling all that way up, looking for a good start of the game and the 2 down after 20 minutes. I mean, it's,
I think he played a shocker with the starting lineup. I think they were so much better when Lavia came on and some of the players, we said pre-show, pre-match, that the Southampton fans were whinging. Why is Lavia not playing? And I kind of was agreeing with it. And
Mara didn't start either, which surprised me because he looked really good in the first leg. But you could see it on the pitch when they reverted back to a back 4. They looked more compact. But the problem I saw with Southampton was when they were getting it in the centre back place, and there was no out ball, and it's like their centre backs didn't know who to give it to. They were having to wait till the midfielders came deep to collect the ball again. There was no out ball at all. And it just slowed Southampton down so much. But I was really surprised with that starting line. Oh, absolutely. But I was really surprised with their starting lineup. Really surprised.
A massive Walker Peters went off. He could just put Pobo on there and then. But what he did was he pushed, what's his face,
Salisu at left back, wasn't it?
He put Salisu out to left back.
Yeah.
And then he changed it all again second half when he brought Perro on. And Perro was an outlet for them. He was on that left-hand side. He was a danger. Why did he do that in the first place? Just changed player for player and then went to a back four.
I still think Southampton are going to be a really exciting team because
absolutely.
When they had the correct players on the pitch, they look really good. I know we've beaten them a bunch recently, but they still look like a really good team. They don't look like they should be in the relegation zone. And they've added Suleimana and this Onuachu, the massive 6'8" guy. They look like a decent team, and I'm
you've got to remember
they're going to push back up the Premier League.
Yeah, Nathan Jones hasn't been there very long. He's probably still working out his best formation, who his best players are, and things like that. He hasn't been there that long, so the opportunity will come. But you're right; they made them changes.
I think the starting lineup was just wrong.
No, he got that wrong, but that's what I mean.
His opinion on who he prefers, and I think if that's gonna be a
he changed it so much from the first leg. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand, when the game kicked off, I'm looking at Southampton's formation. I'm thinking they're wide open here. They're absolutely wide open. And obviously it proved point that we got the 2 goals. But some of the performances for me, again, I thought Bruno's sending off culminated in frustration because
bad referee.
Paul Tini he's a shite referee. We know that, and I just felt it culminated in a few challenges on Bruno that he didn't get. I mean, I don't like the one where Bruno went down and he grabbed the ball before the whistle blew. He does that a few times, and I think Billy, you've mentioned that in the past. Well, but he shouldn't be grabbing the ball. It's as simple as that. Just play at the whistle, get on with it. And then the sending off came, and I thought, when we first saw it from where we were sitting, we thought, he got the ball. He nipped the ball off him. And then when we see the replay, but this is the problem I have, guys, and I don't know whether you'll feel the same about this, but what I saw on Saturday from Fabinho for Liverpool, how is that no different to Bruno's tackle? Yet one is a red card and one isn't. I don't get it.
There was one even worse last night.
Anthony stamped on someone.
Yeah. 2 seconds. Roadblock, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, you three were all brill, but Billy is the marathon man. Really hope we nail the bastards up 4-0. If only to see how the pundits and mank knackers cope. Yeah, we'll see. Sorry, go on, Billy. You want about Anthony last night, yeah? The foul.
Was it Weghorst that trod on one of the Forest players deliberately? Absolutely, definite red card. Yeah. Look at it.
And Son did an identical tackle as well to what Bruno's tackle was pretty much. Well, I think it was worse. So Son has done the same tackle, no red card. Fabinho's done one, no red card. I don't know if it's Anthony or Weghorst did his stamp as well, no red card. Funnily enough, all 3 of those teams in the big 6 protected. It's frustrating. I still think the Bruno tackle was a red card, but even so, it's frustrating that the three of them got away with it and we didn't.
But Billy, you don't think it was a red card, do you?
Well, he's been sent off for violent conduct, and I don't think it's possible to be accidentally violent. I really don't. What happened there was, and I've watched it, and you watch it, you'll see it. Idoji puts his foot over the ball, and Bruno's already he's already motioning to tackle by that time. He catches the ball with his heel, actually. But if his leg isn't there, he takes the ball. He actually tries to protect the ball with his leg. Now, he's either a complete simpleton or he's lost control of the ball. You either think he's shit or he's mental.
Yeah,
he does. He puts his leg over the ball and plants his foot in front of the ball while Bruno is in swing to kick it. He catches it with his heel. The bit where his leg is, obviously, his foot can't make contact with the ball. He's not deliberately gone to kick him. It's not intentional. There's no malice there.
I've seen people. I think
he's been dangerous to himself. I really do. I don't see it being a red card.
Well, you could put it that way. Obviously, Newcastle have had the chance to appeal, but there's no way they're going to do that because they could extend Bruno's ban. And knowing the powers that be, they would love to extend it to 4 games, wouldn't they, and make sure he's out of the final. So Newcastle are never going to appeal that in a million years. What did you think of the handball incident, though? Was that a penalty?
No, he's lucky. He was very lucky. He missed his hand.
Yeah. It hit his chest, but he did have his arm well outside of a natural position for this
because the angle was bad from where we were, but obviously no VAR looking at it. So I found that bizarre when we didn't even know VAR was there until
I think they did look at it, didn't they? I'm pretty sure.
It didn't come up on the scoreboard. They may have said it on the TV, but they didn't say anything on the scoreboard. We didn't know VAR was there until it came up that Bruno, it was being looked at for a possible violent conduct, possible sending off. That's the first time we knew of it. But Prowler TV says Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport hopes Newcastle win the silver. Yes, he does, apart from that Belen Kundi. Who
there was a penalty, by the way, in the first half where Wilson was pulled to the floor.
Oh, yeah. Well, my dad said that. Yeah, my dad said that. But that wasn't even looked at.
No.
Barbara, good evening to you. And she says a big shout out to all the mods that keep the chat glowing. Mike says keyboard coward stato, not warriors. Good point. Jason says he's changed his views on Flash Gordon. Stephen says, I'm going for us to win. We will want it more. We have more momentum. It's written in the stars. Zishan, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. He says, evening, everyone. Does anyone know a bigger sausage than Jason Cundy? They're all so bitter. Well, Cundy admit he wants Man United to win because he doesn't want Newcastle getting involved. He doesn't. He said it on the radio. He doesn't want Newcastle interfering with the top teams. He said it. I mean, he literally gave it all away.
There was a short period of time, maybe 6, 8, 10 weeks ago, where a lot of them were a bit more neutral and they were all like, oh, this is really exciting. This is great. Yeah. Eddie Howe's brilliant. They're a great team to watch, yada, yada, yada. And now they're looking at the table, they're looking at the points and they're going, uh-oh. Okay, no. This is okay. They're a bit too good now, and they're scared. And it's hilarious. The Man United fans are scared and rattled, as are the Chelsea, as are the Liverpool fans.
Yep.
Because the league position is just not going away, and we are continuing that point accumulation, and we're in a final.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, it's nice that Jamie O'Hara stayed on side, considering some of his weird opinions. There's a lot of them coming out early doors as well. I don't know if it's that they're trying to sort of get early credit just in case we're good, but a lot of them are coming out and saying, "Oh, we can title challenge next season." There's no basis for that, none at all, because that's completely dependent on how the summer goes and how the rest of this season goes. There's no way you've got enough information to just say that. Anybody could have a title push. Brighton could have an incredible summer.
Well, listen, Alex, I'll say it now. I believe we'll be in there next season.
Yeah, but
because I believe they will spend in this. But that is dependent on where we finish this season.
To sit on telly and talk sport.
No, I don't. Absolutely not. But I would talk sport, Sky Sports, anybody. You know, I'll speak the truth. I'll give us a voice. I will give the Newcastle United Football Club a proper voice, not these bellends belittling us all the time. Put me on the screen. Anyway, Abs, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. She says Bruno was being targeted by their players all game. Ref then lectured him for 2 fouls he didn't make. Was fuming. Yeah, Joe Linton fouled one player, and then he was talking to Bruno, and I thought, what the hell's going on there? Just crazy. The Clone Lad says he wasn't overly impressed with ASM's work rate on Tuesday night. He says he can see why Eddie isn't starting him.
Go away. No, ridiculous. I've heard this on Twitter. This is irritating me. We went down to 10 men and he went up front. Like, fine. He had to cover wide left back and then also cover high centre forward as an outlet. Like, that is so far apart from what his intended role probably was supposed to have been. He's had to go and shuffle back into a completely different job. I don't get it. I don't get it. I've not heard any comments about Willick. We've talked about Willick, but I've not heard anybody questioning Willick. But Willick literally gave a goal away, and people are talking about ASM. Why?
Why? I mean, to be fair, how are the lads? Maggot Drowner says ASM was on when we were a man short. Don't read too much into that.
There you go.
Carlos says,
I watched him press from side to side when he was on his own up front in the last 5 minutes. Like, I know he wasn't on long, but he was still making the effort. Absolutely.
He's in. But when the full-time whistle goes on the fan cam on the official YouTube channel for NUFC, you can see him press left, press right, tracking as the full-time whistle goes. Go and watch it.
And can I just say that every time ASM did something, Eddie Howe was applauding him on the side, right in front of me, applauding him and really G'ing him up and saying, well done for the press. So, yeah, let's not... There's always going to be
so done with it. It's an agenda at this point. People not writing about Willick's Willock giving away a goal, effectively putting them in a goal scoring opportunity. Fair enough, Shadham's hit was very good, but then, so ignoring that, but typing stuff about ASM negatively when he didn't do anything wrong and we were a man down.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
As Benno NUFC says, Shaq the Arsenal fan, he's had Facebook posts from 2014 all about his support for Arsenal. Yes, I was hoping nobody would actually spot that, but I guess they have. Zishan, thank you for another £4.49. He says, have I told you about my Muppet Manu brother? My mum is dreading the next few weeks. I can understand why, yeah. Ian Fleming, thank you for your £5 super chat. You got a bit of an itch there, Bill. Thank you, Ian, for your £5. He says, see, Chelsea have been told if they don't qualify for Champions League this season, they could face breaking FFP regulations. Yes, I've seen that. They're in the shit. They're in the shit.
Expect a lot of refereeing decisions to go their way in the next 3 months of the season.
Well, that's a possibility.
You can guarantee it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Scott says, did anyone see Alan Pearson get attacked after the game? Well, he wasn't attacked. He was verbally... it could have got nasty, but listen...
I've heard it's gone to the police, so...
Yeah, listen, well, the guy who was confronting him used some homophobic comments, which is why...
Just leave the poor lad alone, just let him make content.
But listen, at the same time, he's a young kid, he's not very tall, and he puts himself in a position where he goes where there's lots of drunken people, and I worry for him at times when he's doing things like that, you know, just... he's going to film people, and people are absolutely hammered, especially nighttime games. But listen, that's not excusing what that. He was definitely a Southampton fan, by the way. You could tell by his accent. Like Farmer Giles there, you know. I mean, if I was with Adam at that time and he pushed me into a window like that, I would have planted the fat bastard. To be honest, I would have knocked him out. But that's just me. Adam's not very big to do that, so. But, you know, then again, he probably wouldn't have confronted somebody my size compared to Adam. He just thought he was Billy Big Bollocks. But, you know...
have to take some security with him.
Yeah, he does all this on his own. And look, I've got a good for him. He's making content and he's out there and he's doing what he loves. But he needs to be careful as well, though, because it can be a dangerous place sometimes when you've got football yobbos like that who are off their heads. And, you know, just trying to act Billy Big Bollocks in front of just pathetic, really. But, you know, the good thing is nothing happened and Adam's okay. Kim says, I wish they would open up St. James's Park, if for nothing else, for all of us non-season ticket holders. Mandy says, no, he was right. I was sitting waiting for the team 3 minutes past. Then you all came on screen already talking. Waiting for the... 3 minutes past, you all came on the screen already talking. Well, I don't know why that is. When a 21-year-old can wind up 52,000 Geordies with a bit shithousery, that'll do for me. Go for it, Gordon. Man United have never won a League Cup after winning both semi-finals, says Ian. Interesting. Just one final thing on that match, and then we'll move on to talk about West Ham. Miggy's substitution on 61 minutes. He wasn't happy. What did you make of that?
I think he wanted better defensive cover down that flank because Perot was coming into the game more. And he obviously felt Miggy wasn't providing it. Murphy came on and he did nothing with the ball. But as a defender, he was absolutely sublime. Super.
Yeah. He worked his ass off.
Pressing.
And I have to say, when he was subbed up and he was smiling away, I thought, boy, he just loves playing for Newcastle United. He loves the whole shithousery of it as well. He loves it, the fact that everybody bloody hates us. And the Newcastle players, as well as the fans and the club itself, we're all loving it. Zishan, thanks for another £4.49. Maxi needs to start in the final. He will destroy the bastards. Go on, Billy.
Yeah, he did that Peter Kay run off slower than you can walk, didn't he?
Yeah. It was the fact he was laughing away, and you could see his little sort of glaring smile on Mad Dog's face as well. It just shithousery at its finest. Anth Martin, thank you for your £12 super chat. That's a new one, £12. Love you guys. I listen to your casts. It's ruined my sex life. Well, Anth, I do apologise for that, matey. But you know what?
Maybe you can get us involved. Sorry. Alex is gone. Oh dear.
Can I just say something on that? You know, me and Alex, who are very happily with people, okay, very happy in relationships. Billy is speaking for himself. What Billy wants to do in his personal life is up to him. So if that is an option for you, Anth, give Billy a shout. Leave me and Alex quite out of it, please. He does not speak for all three of us. Dear God, Billy. Need to start a petition for a big screen in St. James's Park for the final. I think the owners might be aware, actually. I think certainly Amanda and me and Dad will. Danny says the first 20 minutes of the game were unreal. The football was played, was amazing, and the stadium was bouncing. Well done, the Toon, for reaching the final from a Cherries fan, says Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. Dan says he'll never forget that Longstaff goal. The roof blew off St. James's Park. It did. The first goal, I had like 2 layers of coats on with massive thick pockets full of the Bairns sweets and keys and phones. And I went to jump out the seat and I got stuck. And then when I finally got released, I went flying into Phoebe and nearly sent her into level 7. But it was just utter euphoria. I took the big coat off after that. But my pockets were just full.
Can I just say as well, when I watched the match yesterday, I watched it again last night. Ian Crocker and Ali McCoy's together, that's the best commentary team on TV. They're superb. The commentator and Ali McCoy's.
Yeah, Ali McCoy's. Who was the other one with him?
Ian Crocker.
I couldn't. He was there, obviously standing next to him. I couldn't put my finger on what his name. And he does a lot of the Scottish commentating, doesn't he? He commentates on a lot of Scottish football for Sky. But Ali McCoy always gets rave reviews for his commentary. He is absolutely fantastic. And hats off to him. The thing about Ali McCoy is, for a guy that used to play for Sunderland, he at full time he was in the crowd, high-fiving the Newcastle fans, getting selfies, shaking everybody's hand, and he's had nothing but lovely things to say about Newcastle United. So hats off to him.
Ex-Macomb as well.
Yeah,
remember?
Exactly. But you wouldn't have known that on Tuesday night. And then Laura Woods, her dad's a Geordie. She wants Newcastle to win. It's just pure little Jason Cundy. Angelica says the biggest gutter for me is that Mike's not here to see us go to Wembley. He wasn't a Newcastle supporter, but he loved to watch us. He would be screaming for us because he hated Man United. Angelica, he'll be looking down, just like Dave Harrison will be, and all the Newcastle fans that we've lost lately who haven't been able to see this turnaround. They'll all be looking down, proud as punch, and I'm sure they'll all be grouped together watching the final, cheering us on, and hopefully helping that ball in the back of the net against Man United. But you've got your family here, Angelica, to keep you company. Ken says, quick question: where do you think the category for tickets will end? I.e., will it go to 5 or 6? I'm in category 3, so I hope I'm in with a shout. But I've got friends in the lower categories. All I'll say is good all. I don't think it'll. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't think it'll get to the last few. I cannot see it unless they hold a certain number of tickets back. But I don't know how they can do that either.
I can't see it.
It is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see. To be honest, it's incredibly tough. George says Tuesday was one of the best days of my life. Walking with the crowd after the game with my Bruno scarf up high, tear in my eye, was truly a special thing. Seeing so many people so fucking proud. Yeah, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, let's turn our attention to Saturday. Now, as I said in the intro, Eddie Howe faces some real dilemmas ahead of this game because obviously the definite missing of Bruno, he's definitely not playing, and the possibility of course, Alexander Isak. If he is confirmed with concussion, he will not be allowed to play. That is the rules. He can't play, whether he feels okay or not. George Hayes, thank you for a $50 super chat. That's really kind, my friend. And thank you for your continued donations to the channel, buddy. So it's a dilemma, Alex. Which way is he going to go? Because he's also got that dilemma. Is it going to be Maxi or is it going to be Gordon?
Yeah, well, it's quite straightforward, I think, with the striker. I think he's been favouring Wilson anyway, so it would be quite an easy decision to just slot Wilson back in. I thought Wilson was much improved against Southampton, especially in sort of the first. Well, when he was on anyway, he didn't quite get any goal scoring opportunities, but early fouls, link up play, touching the ball a lot more, very involved. Pressing was good, much better. So I don't know if he wants to play Wilson as much. We are trying to nurse him carefully.
Yeah.
That's why he tends to only play 65 minutes most matches, trying to manage him very, very carefully. But no, you're right. The dilemma there is the left wing, because you would imagine that Joe Linton's going to pop back into midfield and Longstaff will sit in the 6. And then even so, Willick has been a left-sided midfielder and Joe Linton's been playing as a left-sided midfielder. So one of them is going to have to
move across,
go back over to the opposite side that they haven't done in a while. I would imagine it would be Willick, but we will see. Considering how much left-sided stuff Willick's been doing recently, we'll have to wait and see. But it is a good call, Anthony Gordon or Maxi. I mean, my gut feeling is that Maxi might be saved as a striking option or as a sub just in case. Although Eddie Howe in his press conference mentioned that he thinks Gordon could also play up top if needed. Yeah. Although he sees him as a wide player. So both could be true. Yeah, I think the Wilson one is a little bit more straightforward. I think he could just play him without too much fuss. But yeah, the left wing is Gordon or Maxi, isn't it? Basically, does he go with Maxi? I mean, he typically doesn't like throwing people in at the deep end, does he? And obviously, if Gordon's not trained too much, I think he trained today. We got some pictures out today.
Yep. I don't think that's a major issue with Anthony Gordon because he's Premier League. He's come from the Premier League. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
he's blended people in from.
Ask the right questions tomorrow.
Well,
we might get a good
happen,
understanding of his opinion. I mean, we could build a little bit of sort of a reference point of where Eddie Howe's kind of at with Gordon playing lots of minutes straight away, or does he need time? You know, the journalists can't get a concrete answer, but they might be able to get an understanding generally.
Yeah.
So hopefully they ask the right questions tomorrow in the press conference.
Sophia's saying there she got a bit emotional when Shelby said his goodbye. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It was a lovely touch from the club, and certainly getting involved in the photo at the end as well. It was he got a really good ovation as well, which I was really pleased about. They were singing the Shelby songs to him, and it was really good. Now, Billy, if he does go for Anthony Gordon on Saturday, where does that leave Maxi? Because Maxi will probably think in his own mind here that he's got an opportunity to come back into first team and cement his place. But then again, we've just paid £40 million for Anthony Gordon. And the option is now there because of what's happened to Bruno. The option is there to play him. So where does he go with this? Because, I mean, that's why he's paid the big money. But what do you think?
I mean, it's not necessarily that Gordon's going to play on the left. He could easily play him on the right and rest McGee for the game, couldn't he?
That's an option as well, yeah.
I think Maxi starts myself personally.
Right.
I think Gordon will be an impact sub just for this week, see how he goes. But if he picks Gordon ahead of him, Maxi isn't going to be happy because I don't think he wants to be an impact substitute. But I can't see it. I think he'll play Maxi. I think he'll play Joe Linton next to him because West Ham do possess a threat down that right flank, don't they, with Bowen, who's got some form now as well. So I think it'll be Joe Linton next to Maxi and Willick will move to the right. That's what I think will happen.
Do you foresee any other changes, Alex? Because, I mean, the back four speaks for itself now, surely, than the goalkeeper.
I mean, we've got some changes in terms of the bench and the depth because it is reported that Manquillo's injured until late Feb. If that's the case, then we might see Ashby used straight away on the bench, potentially. So it's not a starting lineup change, but it's interesting because if anything does happen to a fullback during the game, then Ashby might get minutes straight away. You never know. But apart from that, I can't see much else changing. Longstaff back in the 6. You'd imagine he'll leave.
A lot of people in the comments are actually saying to start Gordon and not Maxi, which is interesting, and push J7 back in the middle. which I think that's a given. He's got to play. We need Joe Linton back in the middle when Bruno's not there. There's no doubt about that.
It does also depend on the opposition. So West Ham are a very good defensive side. They've only got 4 clean sheets this season, but they're hard to break through. I think their XG against is one of the best in the league, actually. XG conceded is 17th, with obviously 20th being the top. So they're not bad. They're only supposed to have conceded 22.6, and we're only supposed to have conceded 18. But we are far outperforming our XG conceded. We've conceded 11. We're meant to have conceded 18. That just goes to show how good the sort of blocks and saves have been. But West Ham are right up there in terms of defensive stability, rigidity. They're just not scoring many goals. They're down at 0.9 goals per match in 16th place, really, really low down. So maybe maxi creativity could be useful. But then again, do we think Gordon can unpick a lock? Yes. Maybe.
It was funny because I seen a comment earlier on today saying that Bruno deliberately got sent off so he doesn't have to play against Paqueta. Crazy. But Peter says, I'm not sure any of our players have made a major final before. I think the nerves were understandable and the experience will do them the power of good. Well, it's certainly a learning curve for them, absolutely.
Well, Francisco mentioned that Almiron's played in a sort of cup formats in the MLS. He'll have to go through and win a final with Atlanta United. So he's probably the only one. I think Trippier and Botman.
Champions League final.
That's true. He did play in the Champions League final, but he lost it. But yeah. And then I guess Botman and Trippier have both won league titles, but winning a league over X amount of games is different to a cup final, right?
Listen, they'll be all up for it. Yes, they'll be nervous, but my God, they'll be up for it. I think it'll be a frantic first 10 minutes in that cup final. Just be tackles flying in everywhere. I just want someone to knock Bruno Fernandez's teeth out. I can't stand that little rat, honestly. If I could bloody 2-foot tackle him before he got into the ground, I'd do it. Tim C says, evening, just to mention, Man U or Anthony should have seen a red blatant stamp and a coward shot. Yeah, exactly. Any thoughts on trying to scoop Everton and signing Isco as a free for some midfield depth? Yeah, Everton trying for Isco now, which is bizarre, considering he's failed a medical already. So we'll see how that one pans out.
Struggling to get into teams that we would consider beneath us now, which is not a good sign. I don't know what's happened to him and what's wrong with his fitness, but if he's not the right fit, then never mind.
But if Isco can't get himself a club and he still turns down Everton, that'll be hilarious.
Do you think Isco could do a job for us?
From the last time I saw him play with Seville I watched when Sevilla played against Man City in the Champions League and he looked fine. So I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why his contract's been terminated. I don't know why he can't pass a medical. So something's obviously happened that I'm not privy to. So if anybody knows, feel free to pop it in the chat because something's obviously happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, West Ham will be coming into the game. They're not in great form, although they've had a bit of a dodgy season. Moyes is still, under a lot of pressure, given that, yes, the beat Everton last week, and that sort of took the pressure off him a little bit. Sorry, last time out in the Premier League because it was FA Cup last week, but you know what I mean. Obviously, they beat Derby quite comfortably in the FA Cup. Do you foresee any problems coming from West Ham? Because the big stars really haven't been firing for them so far this season, have they?
They haven't, but they've signed someone who likes to score against us, Danny Ings. He's signed for them. He likes a goal against us. Bowen's coming into a little bit of form also. They've obviously got Declan Rice as
I think Ings might be out.
Is he?
FOTMob says Ings knee injury until mid-February.
Oh, that's good then. That's good news then.
So apparently Skamaka is also out to mid-Feb. Kurt Zuma's out, or it's doubtful, and Cornet's out till late Feb. So this
got a few injuries.
It might change, but
because Antonio's just not been doing it this year either. He's wanting out. Malcolm Taylor, thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, "Hi chaps, I would like to see us change it up a bit for West Ham. Gordon will be buzzing." Look, maybe we'll change it up, but then again. maybe he won't. He certainly hasn't over the past few games. But David says, I stopped going to St. James's Park when Ashley got his advertising hooks into our club, but do not feel I have an equal right to a cup ticket. My stomach couldn't handle Ashley. You and a few others, mate, to be honest. Matthew says the lads are gelling well together, so now even with VAR and the Prem going against us, we're still marching on. Ken says, I love the media. The more hate, the better we become. It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the more hatred we get in the press, the better we seem to play. By the way, Andre Ayew has joined Nottingham Forest on a free transfer. So there's another one in for Forest. Why? Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Matthew.
Chris Wood or John O'Shaver didn't make the 25.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Louise says, come on, Willick, he should not start as a Newcastle fan. Interesting.
We don't have anybody better than him to start at the moment, so he should.
We don't have anybody really, do we? To be honest, with midfield.
Who's going to start in midfield? Richie? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, look, he put Anderson there late on, didn't he? But I think that was just a waste of a bit of time.
Of course it was.
I don't believe that was any other sort of tactical reason. I just think.
I mean, when the ball ran up with Murphy's number on it, he actually ran backwards towards the other side of the pitch.
He knew he was coming off. He knew he was coming off. Yeah.
He went as far away as possible and then ran off. Like I said, like Peter Kay says, running slower than he can walk. So he was thinking it was all a time waste.
Interesting. Ian says, what more can ASM do to make people get off his back, Alex?
Oh, no idea. I mean, we've talked about Miggy as well. He got a cracking assist, played brilliant for half an hour, and then very much faded. But again, that's not really been typed about or mentioned. It's just, Willick made a big mistake, but was fairly good in the opening phase. Similar for Almiron, was amazing with the assist, but then faded dramatically. But it's all Maxi's fault, even though we were a man down, as always.
Chanel Wright, I believe it's Chanel. Otherwise, it's Channel, and I believe Channel is Chanel. But I could be wrong. You know what I'm like. Longstaff was brilliant. Thank you for your £2 super chat as well, Chanel. Ian A says, Adam Shaw is like the Jeremy Kyle of NUFC podcasts. He needs to be careful. Yeah, he does get the idiots jumping on Adam, so that's what I'm concerned about, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of people commenting on that, saying that he needs to be careful. He's going to get hurt one day. Mal the Grinch says, all right, lads, I'm hoping Gordon plays on Saturday, and I think if he plays, he scores. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. I
wouldn't mind seeing him on the right. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing Biggie get a rest, just a rest for a week. He has faded as late, and he's not showing that. Obviously, he's not going to show the same level of form with all those goals before Christmas, but I just think he needs a rest for a week.
Well, that's what having a big squad's all about, is rotating a little bit and giving players a bit of time off.
If Isak happens to be fit, I'd like to see a Maxi, Isak, and Gordon front three, because they're all good ball carriers and all good dribblers, all want to be on the ball.
I'll be up for that.
That'd be quite the spectacle.
Yeah. A lot of people absolutely very complimentary about the Southampton fan, as you can imagine. And I say that in jest. Paul was robbing the toilet paper from the bottom. Give over, will you? Shamrock says, Billy, have you ever thought of doing voiceovers for horror movies?
I've done a few in my time. After heavy Saturday nights, and I'm going to say next, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, well, Anth's replied to you in your comment, Billy. He says, I'm straight, piss off.
I didn't mean actually be there. I meant talking while you're doing it.
Billy, please don't do that, man. There's absolutely no need for that. Because coming down my earphones like that is just horrible. Jordan's in that. I just realised what I said there. That's just... Why do I do it? Why? Well, I miss Danielle. She would have put me straight. Immediately said, "Don't even say it, Paul."
Should have put me straight. That's for certain.
Well, yeah, she would have. Jordan's in the house. He says, I'm here, but I've got no voice from Tuesday. The atmosphere was fucking electric. George says, agree, Billy. Watch the match again about 2 a.m. and the commentary team on Sky was great and the pundits on the side of the pitch.
Even Francis Benali was, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
magnanimous loser.
I didn't realise who that was, you know. He was standing in between Given and Ginola.
He was a horrific footballer, wasn't he? Christ, it was shit. But he played loads of times for Southampton, didn't he? Lots and hundreds of times. Fucking awful player.
Uh-oh. Oh. He may well... Chanel might be actually channel, as in the YouTube channel. So whatever the name was after channel, something. Susan's come up with a hunch. If so, I look stupid now calling a bloke Chanel. But, you know... West Ham have 44% average possession, 18th for possession, won in the final third. So they sit deep. So it's going to be a challenge for us, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we need all season to break teams down, haven't we?
Yeah, we have a lot of times.
We're not going to get pressured as much as like we did against Southampton, though. They're 19th in the league for tackles, but strangely enough, second in the league for interceptions. So they sit in a rigid shape and try and obviously block passing lanes. I've not watched much of West Ham this season. I probably should. But it would appear that they tend to step in and block passing lanes and try and intercept the ball because they've got very low tackle numbers. So they're not going to sort of press out, win the ball in the final third, be really aggressive. It does look like they hold their shape. They try and intercept passes and play to hit. They always try to hit on the counter attack. So
yeah. Well, it's going to be a very interesting game. Tom Lynch says, I'm watching Twitter and there's images coming out showing up that until the takeover, DJ Shaq was an Arsenal fan.
He wouldn't be the first Newcastle personality that will wearing an Arsenal shirt, would he? Let's be honest.
He certainly won't be the last. McCoy's could have been a Geordie if he wasn't spotted in the red and white shirt. Still a really good bloke.
He was shit for him, though, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he was. He didn't get many goals, did he? Right, it is time for team predictions. Lots of people in the chat going Shaq out. Oh, dear. Oh, dear me, out. Right, Billy, we'll start with you. What's your team lineup for Saturday?
Nick Pope in goal, Trippier, Cher, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff in the 6, Willock to the right of him, Joe Linton to the left, Maxi, Wilson, and Miguel Almiron.
Okay, Alex?
Exactly the same. Pope, Trippier, Cher, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff in the 6, Joe Linton left 8, Willock right 8, Maxi left wing, Wilson up top, and Miggy on the right wing. I'd like it a bit differently, but I agree. I think Miggy possibly deserves a rest. And I'd like to see Gordon maybe in the starting lineup, but I'd also like to see Maxi in the starting lineup. I think if Isak comes through the concussion check, I would start Isak as well, just to rest Wilson.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you something, guys? That's what I'm predicting. I'm going for a front three of Maxi, Isak, and Gordon. Just to change it up a little bit and give the other guys a rest.
That's what I want to see.
Listen, it is highly well known that most of my team predictions are always bollocks and completely wrong. But listen, I got it right once when I said that Isak would start against Wednesday, and I got that right. So sometimes I do get it right, but most of the time I get them wrong. So it's just one of them things. But I don't know whether that's me heart ruling my head thinking, I'd love to see that front three. Just give that a go. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with Isak. And hopefully, as you say, Alex, those media people ask the right questions this time.
Well, we shouldn't need to be scoring many goals to win this game. I think if we score one, we win. West Ham are 19th in the league for big chances created. They've only created 16 chances all season. Comparing that to Man City and first have created 61. So they struggle. They really struggle up top. They're going to play counter attack. They're going to let us have the ball. Well, I don't think they've got much choice. I think we're good and we'll have the ball more often than not. They're going to have to they're going to need a moment of quality in the counter-attack, or for us to make a mistake like we did against Southampton. I think that's the only way they're going to get past us. So we've just got to make sure we can be technical enough to score a goal and just stay solid and guarantee the 3 points. But I think it's going to be a harder game than people imagine. They're going to be frustrating. We've struggled against teams who try and frustrate us, and I think they're going to do that. They're going to block the space, be really annoying to play against. So we're going to need some magic to get through them.
Yeah, it will be very interesting. A lot of people are saying that DJ Shaq will get a free ticket as well. Which
Tony Thornbridge just called him Granite Shaka.
Yeah, I saw that. Ab says you were a stopped clock, Paul.
Right, twice a day.
Eh? All right, okay. Josh says even a broken clock is right twice a day, Paul. Right, score predictions, Billy Bob.
I think it'll be a hard game. I think they will come for points, but I think we will break them down eventually, and I think we'll be on 1-0. And a goal will be from St. Maximin.
Oh, Alex?
I'm going to go 1-0 as well. And I think, just because of how everything's gone recently, I think Gordon's going to get a goal.
Wow. Okay. And who else? Isak, did you say?
What, in a 1-0?
Oh. Anyway, I think it's going to be 2-0. I think, it may be one of them frustrating first halves where Southampton sit back, try and defend, and then we get a goal. They push forward, try and equalise. We catch them on the break again. And I think scorers... Botman and Joe Linton.
I mean, they've got centre-half problems, haven't they? So corners and things like that could be a big threat for us.
Yeah, we've got to score from a set piece eventually, guys. And Botman's got to score eventually. I mean, it wouldn't be fair if one of us didn't go for Botman to score. It's as simple as that. So
the centre backs aren't terrible. I think they're losing purely because they're just not winning. They're not scoring that many goals. But they're just being dominated. I don't. It's really weird. I mean, going back and looking through the stats of the recent games, they got out possessioned by Wolves, Everton, Brentford, and I in my head I'm thinking West Ham should be better than them, especially in the midfield battle, surely with Rice and Souček, because I'm remembering them from last season and just going back and having a look. I'm so surprised at how poorly they're doing. Yeah. Even Derby County gave them a good go. To be fair, they did win 2-0. West Ham did, but Derby County had a fair. Did they even have more possession? Surely not. They might have done,
I just heard the reports on the radio saying that West Ham were really comfortable. Derby
had 48% possession, more shots as well, not less on target. But again, Derby are in League One, so
yeah, they are.
When you say comfortable,
they've had a very rough time of it as well.
West Ham should be comfortable against the League One side. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, shut up, Alex. We're no one to talk about being comfortable against the League One side. Bollocks to that and all.
Wednesday are a championship side, an all but name.
Yeah, you keep digging, sunshine. Right, there you go, guys. That is the preview show for tonight, done and dusted. Thank you very much for joining us. Well over 1,100 people watching again. It is absolutely fantastic to have you all with us every live show. It really is. Keep your eye open tomorrow for a recorded video. I'll bring out any news that's come out of Newcastle. Plus, we'll be discussing what Eddie Howe had to say in his press conference. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we've got TTR Friday. There'll be 5 of us on tomorrow night. There'll be the 3 of us. Sorry, 6. We'll be joined by Francisco, Jimmy, and, of course, the King of Qatar. We will have the usual stuff. We'll talk about the past week, the semi-final, what's going to happen in the final, the West Ham game, all sorts of refereeing decisions, the usual kind of stuff you'll get on a magazine show based on the great sport of football. So we'll have all that tomorrow night. And of course, don't forget the quiz. Can people remain unbeaten? And things like that. And I will have some proper questions tomorrow as well. So some of them were very difficult last week. But listen, they have to be. Otherwise, I'll be sending mugs all over the world for nothing. But please do check out the website as well, to the toonreview.co.uk for all your merchandise. All of the social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Go and follow the Toon Review on all of those. We've got a brilliant group on Facebook. Well over 2,000 people on that Facebook group now. So it's a great place to go and talk football as well on Newcastle United. Thank you to new members and also the super chatters. Thank you so much for your generosity again. And of course, the mod squad. Fantastic job again. And to use two on screen with me, thank you very much. But all you guys out there are legends. But we'll be back tomorrow again, 8 p.m, TTR Friday. Don't miss it. It will be a great show. And hopefully nobody crashes into Jimmy's garden this time. But thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?